This is meteorologist Dan Baumgart with the National Weather Service in La Crosse with an updated severe weather briefing for Thursday and Thursday night. What we're looking at for the daytime period today is morning storm activity to slowly wane, giving a dry period for most of the day today. And then we expect a line of storms, an area of storms to develop tonight and move in from the west and affect the entire area as a cold front pushes through. So the hazards over the area are mainly heavy rainfall and continued flooding. We had quite a bit of rainfall last night and reports of flooding. Damaging winds, isolated damaging winds this morning in certain areas, and a little bit better damaging wind threat west of the Mississippi River tonight. And then a lesser threat of large hail and brief tornadoes, but the main threats are heavy rainfall and flooding and damaging winds. For tonight, it's going to affect all areas, especially south of I-94 for flooding potential. Current radar just shows a complex over Wisconsin and northeast Iowa, and that complex is slowly moving southeastward and will continue to do so. Another complex is moving toward the Duluth area and northern Minnesota. That has an area of more active storms along the I-35 corridor. That will slowly shift northeastward and may give a isolated damaging wind threat to parts of southeast Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Overnight rainfall in northeast Iowa was anywhere from 3 to 5 inches from southwest Wisconsin into northeast Iowa, Decorah to Dubuque roughly. This is a radar estimate on the rainfall from last night's. Other areas to the north saw about an inch of rainfall, so really northeast Iowa was hit pretty hard last night. Current surface map showing the area of low pressure and this frontal zone that's been in the area and the focus for the weather and thunderstorms this week, still staying in the same spot. But what we'll see as the day and overnight progress today is that the low pressure area will shift off to the north into Minnesota, and a cold front will now move through and break the rainy pattern that we've been in with this stalled out frontal system all week here. So we do expect an area of storms to develop with that cold front and frontal system moving into the area tonight in the overnight. So an area of storms will shift through Minnesota and Iowa and into Wisconsin during the overnight hours. Just a snapshot of what we visualize as the line of storms later this afternoon, about 5 o'clock. Just kind of a general idea, maybe approaching the I-35 corridor late in the afternoon, and then moving into southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa in the early evening, and finally into the Wisconsin area for the overnight hours. These severe weather probabilities look best west of the Mississippi, both today during the early morning hours here, and then again tonight. Remember, there'll be that break in between. There's a slight risk or small chance of severe weather west of the Mississippi mainly. And when we look at some of the different probabilities, tornado probabilities look real low. The highest probabilities are for wind. Again, your eyes are drawn to the area west of the Mississippi River for the most part. And then the large hail probabilities. We think that the wind will be a little bit higher probability than the hail. And then again, because we've had so much rain over the past week, we're now looking at, again, 1 to 2 inches of rain coming through with this system tonight again. So here's the rainfall forecast for a little bit this morning in the morning hours, but mainly again overnight tonight as that frontal system moves through. And as the front moves east, then for Friday we see the rain chances and the heavy rain producing air mass move off to our east and more into the Great Lakes region. So our current hazards with that frontal system moving through during the overnight hours and still a rich air mass in place for heavy rainfall, we have extended the flash flood watch through Friday morning for all areas south of I-94. That would include western Wisconsin, northeast Iowa, and southeast Minnesota. So the severe weather risk this morning, with the system moving northward towards Duluth, there'll be an isolated wind damage potential here in southeast Minnesota, parts of northeast Iowa, and western Wisconsin. And also brief heavy rains will come through that area and exacerbate any flooding that's ongoing, especially those along the Cedar River and its tributaries. Again, this morning we have rain on which is waning over northeast Iowa and southwest Wisconsin, but there's still flooding that has occurred, basements being filled with water, many rivers either bankful or out of their banks in this swath of 3 to 5 inches of rain that fell overnight last night. And then as we head towards tonight, again, 1 to 2 more inches of rainfall may cause more flash flooding or exacerbate any flooding that's ongoing. Damaging wind threat is also there tonight as that line of storms moves in and through. And to a lesser extent, large hail. A brief tornado can't be ruled out, but it doesn't look very favorable for that to occur. The locations, most areas for the heavy rainfall, most areas will receive 1 to 2 inches tonight. And most of the flooding will be south of I-94 because that's where the soils are most saturated. And for the damaging winds, I'd say that the best area for damaging winds is west of the Mississippi River, just because of timing. As we get into the later overnight hours, that line of storms will be moving into Wisconsin and have a little bit less energy to work with. So that concludes the severe weather briefing for Thursday into Friday morning.